So there's a problem, right? Where in BGs, where players who want to play the objective are clashing with players who want to kill people and play deathmatch. I'm here to say both players are both players are not like in the wrong. So I'm trying like not to stutter here, so bear with me. So like I think personally this problem could have been avoided if we would have never went to a solo queue. Because because when they went solo queue, they lost a lot of population in battlegrounds. I see the same faces in battlegrounds nowadays. Before solo queue, I didn't see the same faces, so I already knew they lost population. And I'm not saying I see the same faces as in like, oh, I'm in high MMR. No, I see the same faces. I see the same faces as in like, oh, there's like, I'm seeing the same faces even when I switch characters that I haven't played with in a long time. So that tells me that BG lost a lot of population, and I think that population was lost because they went solo, and so when they went solo, a lot of players were saying, "Oh, that's a good idea," you know. I think the biggest reason, or one of the reasons, don't like quote me on this, but like the biggest reason, or one of the biggest reasons was the fact that people using like a lot of oats in like the area. So like people got mad because of oat dumping because the pre-mates. Oh god, so like when people were oat dumping, it made them mad, and they were on the forums, and they made they made it known. But so when like ZeniMax made changes to like you know try to fix the problem, or like a temporary fix, they just took away the teammates, and so there's no more oat dumping. But in actuality, what happened was there was a lot of oat dumping instead, because players would just because good players know how to coordinate even without like let's like hopping in Discord in 4 minutes. But casual players cannot play with each other anymore, so they lost interest, and so when they lost interest, like BG lost population, and so when players said it wasn't a big, like players will say like, oh, solo queue wasn't a big deal, and I think it was, because to a casual player, okay, a 4v4 match, I want to play with my friends. This seems like something I want to play with my friends. It didn't make sense. A lot of players back then were saying it didn't make sense to them because under the group and activity finder, which is the the area with the dungeon fighter, so like you did stuff as a group. It didn't make sense that they can only play solo. So from a casual perspective, it didn't make sense to them. But so they lost interest. And so with that loss of interest, they lost population. And what I'm trying to say is that like most players who played BGs were casual, and so when casual players lost interest, BG lost population, a lot of population, because that change was made with like moderately good to like advanced level players in mind, when they're not like the majority. Um, so a lot of casuals tried to wait it out because they said the change was temporarily, and it just took too long, which was another mistake, that the changes took too long. So players said, okay, I'm not waiting out. I'm just not gonna play BGs, because players had healers that they want to play BGs on. Like you don't know, like you don't want to heal a bunch of randoms. If you ever healed a bunch of randoms, it's terrible, because they go around all the place. There's no one to coordinate with. So on those tombs, it was hard to get daily rewards. And DPS players, they didn't have that bad of a time, but players who are used to playing with other people, they kind of had a bad time. So they stopped playing. So like a lot of casuals, like a lot of people who had those kind of like builds, they like lost interest. Um, Another thing was players just wanted back. So after a lot of talk, players heard that okay, we're getting BGQ back or group Q back, but Genemax knew they couldn't go back to the original system because, like I said beforehand, a lot of players lost interest because, like it's like what I said. A lot of players didn't believe me because I was low level back then, and they kind of like discredit, like just kind of like discarded my opinion. But it's happening now. I'm like, okay, so like a lot of people are losing interest. My brother lost interest, and he didn't play PvP, but like he played BGs. So now he doesn't play anymore. So now when they brought back the system, like another problem arises since they can't go back to the original system. They made it like random, so you don't know which BGQ you're getting. You don't know which gamer you're getting, and this was done because I believe that they couldn't afford to go back to the original system because of the lack of population. So now we have another issue where objective players are getting mad at deathmatch players playing deathmatch, and deathmatch players are like not caring. Because here's the thing, objective players, they just play the objective. Deathmatch play, if an objective player and a deathmatch player fight, the deathmatch player is going to win all the time, because they have experience. And I give you two scenarios, and I have like 3 minutes to wrap up. One scenario is you have a deathmatch player on your team, and you try to play the objectives. And that deathmatch player, he might not even be good. It might be getting killed. But every time that a team fight breaks out, you're down one man because the other guy's off in the map trying to get killed and look good, And it's frustrating. Objective players, I understand where you're coming from. It's frustrating when somebody's not playing the objective and you want to play the objective. But another scenario that's bad is if a whole other team is trying to play deathmatch and your team is trying to play objective. Well, now what the deathmatch team is going to do is they're going to focus your team down. You're easy kills to them because they have the experience of playing deathmatch. So you just get farmed over and over again. Now you can't even play the objective because you're dealing with an issue. And it leads to like a hatred for these players when it's not even no party's fault. Because deathmatch players, you can't get mad at players for killing players in a PvP environment, only killing players. Because there was a time back then when you could only, it was okay to only kill players because you only queue for deathmatch. And it was okay to only play objective because you only play objective games. But now that option is gone because of the mistakes that were made. I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a little flustered here. I'm trying to talk without stuttering. And so I don't know, it's bad, So objective players, just don't get mad at deathmatch players. I know it's hard. Just ask them, hey, can you guys help me play the objective? Just ask them. And deathmatch players, try to play the objective just a little bit for them because not everybody's there to get kills and whatnot. So, and ZeniMax, which is the developer team, I don't leave you in the dark either. I don't want to say it's your fault, you made this mess. Try to make a queue where it's like objective queue and deathmatch queue. At least try that. At least make it just an objective queue and a deathmatch queue. Thank you for listening so much, guys. Snow Warden coming out. You're actually looking at him right now. Thank you guys for listening to my opinion, guys. Tell me how you feel about this, and thank you a lot, guys. Please keep watching, and I love you all. Thank you.